Good morning. We're going to ask that everyone except for the family please stand. Good morning. The Honorable Mayor Michael A. Nutter in the city of Philadelphia would like to welcome all dignitaries, public service personnel, friends and family of Lieutenant Joyce Craig to this memorial ceremony. This memorial ceremony will honor the heroic life and exemplary public service this great woman sacrificed and provided to the citizens of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You can now be seated. Good morning. The Honorable Mayor Michael A. Nutter in the city of Philadelphia would like to welcome all dignitaries, public service personnel, friends and family of Lieutenant Joyce Craig to this memorial ceremony, which will honor the heroic life and exemplary public service this great woman sacrificed and provided to the citizens of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For 11 years, Lieutenant Joyce Craig served as a member of the Philadelphia Fire Department with valor and distinction. After graduating from the Philadelphia Fire Academy, Cadet Class 178, in March of 2004, Lieutenant Craig started her career serving the Mount Airy community at Engine 9. She went on to serve the North Philadelphia community at Engine 45, and then the Mount Airy community again at Ladder 21, and lastly, the Longcrest community at Engine 64. She will always be remembered as a firefighter. In her service to these communities, Lieutenant Craig continually demonstrated her duty-bound commitment to serve citizens, save lives, and preserve property. Regrettably, on Tuesday, December the 9th, 2014, Lieutenant Joyce Craig was killed in the line of duty as she and her fellow fire service personnel rescued a civilian from a West Oak Lane house fire. Our Honorable Mayor, Michael A. Nutter, and the city of Philadelphia are grateful for her dedicated and exemplary public service to the citizens of this great city. May she forever rest in peace. Our first speaker this morning will be Lieutenant Diane Mercer of the Philadelphia Fire Department. With 30 years of committed public service, Diane Mercer now serves in the Fire Prevention Unit of the Philadelphia Fire Department. Lieutenant Mercer.
Good morning. In 1985, Paulette Kennedy, Dorothy Covey, and I became the first women to be hired as firefighters in the history of the Philadelphia Fire Department. It was never my desire to be a firefighter. I had a dead-end job, but I wanted something better, something with benefits. I was convinced by my sister-in-law to even put in an application. Making history wasn't even on my mind. As a little girl, I had dreams and aspirations of becoming a secretary, a nurse, a hairdresser. That's what girls were told they could become when they grow up, but not Joyce Craig. Since she was 5 years old, she wanted to be a firefighter. She used to see them in her neighborhood and knew that's what she wanted to do. If you wanted to be something that wasn't girly, we were discouraged, or people thought something was wrong with you. Girls were supposed to want to grow up to be wives and mothers, not mayor of a city, governor of a state, or chief of a fire department. Those things, when I was a little girl, were unheard of. If Joyce was discouraged, she didn't let it stop her. She held on to that dream. She told some guys she worked with at an ambulance service that she was going to be a firefighter, and she did. She wanted to be the best at what she did. She sought eventually and went to a busy station, Engine 45 in North Philly, to learn her craft. She didn't shy away from anything that was asked of her. Joyce loved her job. But while she was there, she would talk to young women in the neighborhood about what it takes and how to become a firefighter. As women, we are no different from the men on this job. We have families that depend on us and whom we want the best for. We are firefighters. We took an oath to do whatever it takes to be there to help the citizens of Philadelphia in their time of need. We are firefighters. We are there when our brothers or sisters need a hand. We are firefighters. We just want to be treated equally and fairly. We are firefighters. Joyce, like too many before her, made the ultimate sacrifice. When I think of her, I think of the words to this song. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody how they're traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world upraught, if I can spread love's message as the Master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. May Joyce's spirit and tenacity to be the best that she could be continue in all of us.
Our next speaker this morning will be Joe Shuley, the president of Local 22, the Philadelphia Firefighter and Paramedic Union.
Good morning. Over the past month since Joyce's death, like many of us, I've been reflecting on her memory. So as we will hear today, and we all know, Joyce had many friends throughout the fire department. She was loved by many and respected by all. What I would like to focus on this morning is the legacy of Joyce in the Philadelphia Fire Department. I have to spend just a minute explaining the dynamics of a new firefighter entering a firehouse. Beginning in a new firehouse as a new or young member is very difficult. Firefighters have a very high level of expectations for each other. And you do not simply walk into a firehouse and get accepted with open arms. You must prove yourself both in the station and, more importantly, on the fire ground. It's not easy for a firefighter starting out in a new firehouse. Female firefighters in Philadelphia make up less than 5% of our firefighters. And women certainly have to prove themselves just like the men. But there still exists an extra level of skepticism because this is such a male-dominated profession. So, after a short time on the job, Joyce transferred to Engine 45. Engine 45 is one of the busiest firehouses in the city and is also one of the most sought-after assignments. When Joyce was transferred, she was certainly sent to the deep end of the pool. Some of the members of that station at that time are legends within the Philadelphia Fire Department. Irv Cohen, Kent Barnwell, Richie Porter, Rick Glover, Jimmy Sullivan, to name a few. Now, the firefighters I named are great firefighters and great people, but they all have a common trait. They have an extremely high level of expectations for the people that work with them. If you do not reach their level of expectations, you will not be accepted. Simply put, they demand excellence. Now, I can't speak for Joyce, but I would imagine she had a level of trepidation about starting in this firehouse. This did not deter her. She came into one of the most busiest, most historic firehouses in the city of Philadelphia and proved herself an equal to some of the best firefighters this city has to offer. And ultimately, the high level of expectation was demanded upon her, she demanded it upon everyone else she worked with. Joyce always wanted to be a firefighter. I'm sure she never put an asterisk in front of it and said, I want to be a female firefighter. She wanted to be a firefighter. She came into this department and proved she could do this job well. So what I think Joyce did for this department, and she never really considered, as one of a small group of female firefighters, she helped show us all that women are fully capable of doing this job every bit as well as a man. She did this with hard work and without any accommodations. Her demeanor and professionalism will certainly help to ease the process of assimilation for all of the women that follow. And we are all grateful to have had the opportunity to know and work with Joyce. As with all the members of Engine 9, Engine 45, Engine 64, that have had the privilege to work with Joyce, as well as all the members of this department, we are all proud to call Joyce our sister firefighter. Thank you.
Next, we will have Deputy Commissioner Jesse Wilson, the Deputy Commissioner of Operations in the Philadelphia Fire Department.
Good morning. I'd like to start first by thanking some dignitaries here. I'd like to acknowledge them. Mayor Nutter, Chief of Staff Everett Gillison, Director Resnick, Joe Shuley, Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird. I think he's walking around here. He threw this whole thing together. Diana Mercer, that was a terrific, terrific speech you gave, and the entire Craig family. Commissioner Sawyer deeply regrets not being able to be here today. I want to thank all who were involved in making possible this memorial ceremony to honor Joyce Craig, who, while serving the citizens of Philadelphia, made the supreme sacrifice. As you now know, Joyce worked in several fire stations over her career. At each one, I can assure you, she made our communities safer. I met Joyce when she was a cadet at the academy. Joyce was to her classmates then, and as she later became to her colleagues in the field, a strong-willed, high performer who demanded nothing less than maximum effort from everyone she worked with. We are here today to focus our thoughts in a collective way on the loss of our loved one. We are here to celebrate our memories and to convey this understanding of honor that we share. It is a noble time for us, certainly appropriate to the profound loss we feel for the family of Lieutenant Joyce Craig and the high honor that we now convey to them. To the family, I promise that the fire department will continue to support and be available to each of you. An old-timer once told me, once you make a 911 run, you become an emergency responder for all time. Well, that is just what Joyce is to us. Forever a firefighter who served the community and her peers with valor and distinction. Now, for all time, the officers or members of Engine 64 and the entire organization are with you. To the members of the fire department, Commissioner Sawyer and I are extraordinarily proud of the outstanding professionalism you bring to every response we make. Joyce would demand that you continue to be champions for fire prevention, community risk reduction, and responder safety. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought. The men and women of the fire department sometimes sacrifice much to protect our great city. We must always remember the professionals who have paid the ultimate price for this cause, as well as their loved ones who hold them dear in memory. On behalf of Fire Commissioner Sawyer, may God bless you and be safe.
We will now hear from our mayor, the Honorable Michael A. Nutter, mayor of the city of Philadelphia.
Good morning. We wish to, of course, honor Joyce's life and service There were some materials that were given to me for today's ceremony, but and they're consistent with, if you look at the back of your program, when I come to the end of the road, and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. I appreciate the musical accompaniment here, the previous speakers, many of whom knew Joyce. As I said at her funeral, I did not have the honor or the pleasure of knowing her. It is certainly possible. Over the years, maybe I ran into her, maybe I saw her at some event, some ceremony, but did not have the honor and pleasure of knowing her, as many of you who serve do. But as I also said that day, I've certainly gotten to know a lot about her, and I wish that I had known her as a public servant, but also as a citizen and a friend. To Joe Shuley, leader of Local 22, thank you for your comments. Deputy Commissioner Wilson, thank you as well, and Lieutenant Mercer, your personal reflection about serving in the fire department. I think after, should have been before, but certainly I think after today, there should be no more confusion in anyone's mind here in Philadelphia or across the United States of America about who can do what job, where, and how. A firefighter is a firefighter. And Joyce, we thank you. To the family, certainly this young man, as again I said a few weeks ago, who will unfortunately have to grow up just a little quicker than he might have anticipated. Makai. To Leilani, she clearly knows her name. She's a beautiful young lady, and she'll grow up with an incredible role model and stories that people will tell her about her mother. Grandmom Joyce Craig, her mom Carol Craig, and Dad James Craig, her brother, who spoke so forcefully about her, Michael Craig, Kareem Meads, Eurus Payton, and LaFaris Makazi, and the larger, broader family and family of the family. Thank you for your strength. You have helped all of us through this very difficult time. You are blood family, as we might say, and relatives, and we're the larger city family, and we certainly feel your loss. But again, we've been enhanced by having Joyce for some time. To my fellow elected officials, Councilman O'Brien, Councilman O, Councilman Nielsen, thank you all for being there that day and for being here again today. Councilman O'Brien, I see her. Thank you. To Councilwoman Bass, thank you for being here this morning. Your colleague was looking out for you. Bill Dalbo, thank you for being here. Our political community, our religious community, Reverend Byrd, religious community represented here. Our many public servants who are in our government, executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, thank you all. Our Deputy Mayor, Everett Gillison, Director of Public Safety, Mike Resnick, and all who serve, the fire command staff, Commissioner Sawyer, Deputy Wilson, all the commanders, all the officers, and the men and women who are out on those trucks and those vehicles each and every day, making sure that all of us are safe, people are secure in their homes, that you get to go home to your family and your loved ones. We love you, we respect you, and it's our job to do our best to protect you. And you are honored and revered among the citizenry here in Philadelphia. There are a couple thousand firefighters and first responders in the fire service. There are a few more thousand, over 6,000 in the police department, 10+ thousand in District Council 33, and thousands more in District Council 47. Thousands of exempt and non-represented employees. Even with 20+ years of service, I don't get to meet everyone, but I do meet a lot of them. And as I said earlier, I just wish that for all that she has done, wish that I'd had an opportunity to meet, not because of what happened that day, but in her service, Joyce Craig, a leader, a trailblazer, a firefighter, a hero, saved a citizen, and gave of herself the ultimate sacrifice. We have these ceremonies of recognition in order to make sure that not only we remember, but that truly infused and stamped in our minds, that we never forget the service and the sacrifice, the joy that comes from doing the kind of work that you do. And people wonder all the time, how does someone do that? How do you run into a burning building? How do you go to a car accident, a car on fire, rescue people, save folks? There's obviously something very, very special within you to do that. The passion and the focus to know when you're that young that that's what you want to do. And I don't know how that came about. I'm sure the family does, but I think I heard a story somewhere that Joyce may have seen one of you some many, many years ago when she was a little girl and said, that's what I want to do. And so I think one of the lessons here is we never know the impact that we have as we go about doing what we think is routine, what we think is the norm, what we think is just kind of, I'm doing my job. And the impact that you could have on a child, on a young person, on an adult, to help point them in a particular direction, to give them a sense of purpose, to give them direction. And so as we go about doing whatever it is that we are doing, let us never forget that others, often unknowingly, are paying attention to us. Let us serve this city with great distinction and honor. For we do not know, today, tomorrow, whatever it is that we're doing, you may actually inspire some young person to want to follow in your footsteps. You do not know that you may be inspiring the next Joyce Craig. And if you do, we'll be a city that is better, richer, and safer as a result. God bless Lieutenant Joyce Craig.
We will now have Deputy Mayor Everett Gillison, Esquire, who will do the presentation of the city flag.
reason why we do things. I think that there's a little bit of an explanation that is needed. We have these memorial ceremonies because in this administration we felt that the way to best honor the sacrifice is to knit the community with those that have sacrificed and have a period of remembrance so that we can all be called to understand what sacrifice means and what it truly means to be part of a community as we go forward, because life still does demand that we go forward. But one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we always did was present the family with a tradition that has been done throughout most ages, which is what is the symbol of a city? Its flag. So whenever you look upon it, you will always know that you have the city of Philadelphia behind you for the rest of your life. And as the story is told, and as you pass this token of our appreciation, our symbol, down through the ages, the story will continue to be retold over and over and over again. So I want to say, God bless you, and I will ask at this time if the mayor and Deputy Commissioner Wilson come forward. This flag flew over the city on the day of Joyce's passing and has flown for the last 30 days. It was folded this morning and is now being presented by Mayor Nutter. As the mayor usually says, on behalf of 1.5 million people and growing, we thank you for her service. Thank you.
Miss me, but let me go. When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey that we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick of heart, go to the friends we know and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. Edgar A. Guest. We will now have closing remarks by our brother Michael Craig, the brother of Lieutenant Joyce Craig. Following this, we will have a selection from our house band.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to start off by saying on the behalf of the Craig family, the entire city, our friends of the family, strangers, the fire department, I can't thank you enough for the gifts, the cards, the phone calls, the emails, the knocks on the door, the condolences. I mean, it's been never ending, and that's definitely not a complaint. It's definitely been, I guess, a help to ease the pain of the loss, to see the support that my sister was able to bring us in our time of need. I want to read something. It was a text message that I received on December 31st from my sister LaFarce. I was thinking just now that everyone who knew me knew that I had a sister that was a firefighter, and I was proud of her, although I didn't like her job because it was dangerous. I was thinking, I'm not going to be sad when I tell people that she died. I'm going to continue being proud and singing her praise. I will tell people that the female firefighter was my sister, and I am so proud of her. Smiley face. And I just like to keep conveying those smiles, because everybody who knows what Joyce did or knew Joyce knows she smiled a lot. She loved to laugh. She loved to enjoy life. She loved to see other people enjoying life. But there was something about my sister that I knew personally, but I've learned greater since her passing. And man, was she great. In communicating with old friends from the neighborhood that I haven't spoke to in years, friends of the family, family members, it became clear to me that our family is far from the only one who suffered a loss here. And so many people have conveyed instances and experiences in their personal story about their relationship with Joyce. And to my surprise, it was very similar to my own. I don't know, I'm just surprised. Like I said, I knew who she was to the family. Even in her young age, you can kind of say she was the big mama of the family, She had this way about her to want to keep everybody together. She always stepped up when there was a time of need. She was just Joyce to us. But like I said, apparently she was that same individual to a lot of the members of the fire department, a lot of people who I grew up with that I hadn't spoken to in 15, 20 years, strangers. I had some people come up to me and tell me stories of how she rescued them in fires when we were at the family's memorial. So, it's just really great, I would never thought that I would get to know my sister even more after she was gone. I've come across her journals in her home, haven't even looked at them. I refuse to. They're hers. They were hers. They were her personal. But, you would think you would get information from that. But again, I just found so much just from the public and from the people around us. So, we all miss her. We're all going to miss her. It's been, 30 plus days since her last fire. And after the immediate shock and the fear and, the grievance, which of course many are still grieving. But I think this text message from my sister exemplifies the emotion that definitely the family is feeling, and apparently everyone who knew her is feeling. It's just pride, Just after you cry or exemplify some emotion, outward emotion of sadness, you can't help but to smile. She was a great person. She was a great firefighter. She was an outstanding mother, aunt, sister, daughter. She was awesome. So again, I'd just like to thank you all. I'd like to thank the city of Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Fire Department for holding this memorial, and all those who were involved with organizing it. Have a good day.
Y'all gonna help me with this song? Everywhere I'm turning, nothing seems complete. I stand up and I'm searching for the better part of me. I hang my head from sorrow, state of humanity. I wear it on my shoulder. Gotta find the strength in me. 'Cause I am superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. Even when I'm a mess, still get on a vest with a vest on my chest. Oh yes, I'm a superwoman. For all the mothers fighting for better days to come, and all my women sitting here trying to come home before the sun, and all my sisters coming together, say yes I can, yes I will. 'Cause even in a mess, I still in a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yes, I'm a superwoman. When I'm breaking down and I can't be found, 'cause I start to get weak. 'Cause no one knows me underneath these clothes, but I can fly. We can fly. 'Cause I am superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. Even when I'm a mess, still sit on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yes, I'm a superwoman. Don't you know that I am superwoman? Yes, I am. Yes, she is. I'm a superwoman. I'm a superwoman.
We thank you for coming. This concludes our ceremony this morning. We ask that you would greet and hug the family and hug each other as we go about our way.